Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio.
And we are back with another happy hour. And yes, we are still pausing on the watching of Sex and the City because, again, it's kind of a busy month. Busy 2 months. There's so many things happening. These, like August and September, we're always in a whirlwind. And half of October as well. And then it comes like holiday seasons. And then we're like, oh my God, what's happening?
It's the end of the year already.
Yeah. So the last 5 months, it gets hectic for us. Just a peek behind the curtains there. But with that, I did want to come back with kind of a follow-up episode of my original happy hour, which I was distressed and unhappy and very sad. Apologies. That was a very unhappy hour that I had. With all of that, I did want to kind of follow up because I feel like what we went through recently was a success. So this is a happy hour update. Being happy. Happy hour update. So I don't know if we need content warning, maybe just aging and probably again, body issues, body dysmorphia, just some content warning, not real, just brief mentions if there is any. But before we start, because it is a happy hour, Anney, are you partaking of anything?
No.
That sounded really ominous.
No, it's been a whirlwind because I'm about to go to Dragon Con.
That's correct.
So I'm doing a lot of stuff.
Are you kind of like detoxing without anything so that you can jump in? Is that what's happening over here?
No, we recorded earlier than we normally do.
That's true.
So I've just been all over the place. But
you're finding your boundaries with that right now?
I just haven't had time to do anything because I stayed up so late last night. So I've been kind of like running around and
trying to get it together. I understand. Because we were, again, whirlwind. And no matter how much you prepare, things happen. So I'm just drinking water as well because, again, it has been earlier and we've all talked about my intolerance as I am Asian and growing older. But with all of that, if you are partaking, please just do so responsibly. We care about you. Care about yourself as well. And if we are mentioning anything specific, we are not necessarily being sponsored by them. Dynamic ads, that happens and all of that. So at this point in time, we are not having any current sponsors of those natures that we speak on. But so we did attend a podcast movement, did a whole panel. We did a lot of things. And I would mark it as a success. Anney, would you mark that as a success?
I would.
Yeah, I think we did a great job. We had the fearless leader of Ease, who is, a part of our family. She has been so for a long while and is now coming back on reoccurring segments with Female First, which we love and appreciate so much. She's an amazing storyteller. She's an amazing historian. But I initially going in, my anxiety was through the roof to the point that I told you I was getting ready to be medicated to certain degrees. I was like, I need a doctor. Where's my doctor? And we did get it all handled before on our way. It was really funny because I think I've just noticed the last 3 years how increasingly worse my anxiety has gotten. I'm functioning, but I'm making people uncomfortable. That's an obvious note. Did I get to the airport ridiculously early? Yes, I did. Did I give any step-by-step instructions of things to a certain degree with leaving some parts out and her misinterpreting some of my text? Yes, I did.
Yes.
Did I have any issues about my clothing and my makeup? So I told y'all I was really struggling with the aging process and my face really started to look like I'm aging. Turns out I had retinol burn, y'all. I didn't know that was a thing. And it was legitimate because I was overdoing it. And I know, I have a feeling many of my older 30s, 40s, 50s, y'all know what I'm talking about because you freak out and you do all of these things in preparation and you overdo it. And in that, all of the puffiness that was happening to my face, not all, but a chunk of the puffiness and extra things that looked like I was oh no, what's happening to me, was because I my face up. That's the best way I can put it. Just being very blunt about it. And with that realization really helped me. I was like, oh, my face is burning. I'm like, wait, That's not aging. Face burning is not an aging thing. When that moment happened, I realized what was happening. My niece, adorable niece, shout out. She doesn't listen to the show, but shout out to her, who is a part of the makeup artist and is actually a social media manager for one of the big colleges in Georgia. She came and helped out with some like pointers, and we went shopping. We had a great day together because she helped me with this, and we sat and talked and had some good drinks. It was a wonderful day, and she really helped me figure out, oh yeah, that's what's wrong with me. Okay. And trying to find the confidence in that and trying to figure out, I need to calm down. Like this is, I will say, because I did talk about perimenopause, like that is the up and down, this emotional factor of this impending doom that you don't know what to do with, the anxiety that goes on top of the fact that you may already be prone to anxiety. Not helpful. Not helpful. And sometimes you need help, legitimate help, whether it is through therapy, through medication, through legal channels. The things that I did are not like classified, significant, like has to be under lock and key type of things. It was just like, okay, this is nice. And into the point that like the performance anxiety, which we were all kind of freaking out about, I think we did well. I think we did really well, to the point that people are still contacting us, trying to find us on LinkedIn, like all these things. The pictures that were sent, I was like, oh, we look cute. I was actually really proud of those pictures. Look at that. I had a really cute outfit. I am leaning back into the world of wide-legged pants. Y'all, game changer for me. All of that to say is like learning to figure out, okay, that, and we've talked about this before, that was anxiety. That was anxiety. That wasn't necessarily the world falling apart. And I think we talk about this with depression as well. Like that is a moment. It's a moment. And if you can struggle through it, or like get the help that you need during that time, or just let time pass, it oftentimes comes to that was a moment. Not always. Please understand. We know that there's a bigger cases and there's some bigger conversations. And that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. But like for me, it was the moment. The anxiety was overwhelming. The depth of dread that I had was overwhelming. Being reintroduced to society, which is what it felt like, is a process. But with that, again, knowing that my hormones and my mental health is different from where it was 5 years ago. My body is different from what it was 5 years ago. So those are the facts that come along, but it wasn't as dire as it felt at that point. Did I truly believe it at that point? Yes. Yes, it really, like I was in a hurt place. Today, coming out of it, kind of really prepping for what I knew I could help, what I knew I could control, really helped as well. Having Anney be a sounding board for me to be like, okay, you can do this, but you want to? I don't think that's necessary. I got you. Like all of these things, having that was a really nice sounding board. Eves, who I've learned is one of the most calming spirits ever in situations like that, was really an amazing sounding board. We actually connected with a server on our first day that I really didn't think about. And then we met her again a few days later, and having her remember us so distinctly and welcoming us, I don't know, that really put a spot in my heart. Like I was like, I don't know why, but this is significant. I don't think you understand, because we were there with thousands of people, hundreds of people, and she was like, welcome back, remembering our orders. Of course, there could be another implication to that, but the fact that she had only met us once and remembered us so vividly was really welcoming. Having connections with strangers who really were listening to our content and was welcoming to our advice and our information, really helpful. Us being able to prepare together, I felt like was really, really helpful. And just reconnecting on a professional level, but also like a friendship level with those people that we might not see. One of our old coworkers who left before we could really say goodbye was there. And so being able to connect with him again was so lovely. Like it was so genuinely see them happy. So just genuinely see them happy was such a like amazing tone to our conversation. Like it really was a great platform as we were trying to reconnect and have a conversation about their next steps and what's going on with them. It was lovely to have all those things. And then again, like I had a person who hopefully we'll have on this show, who is in the podcasting world now, come up and say, I understood that episode. Like being validated. And I think we all know that. It's like, oh my God, good. So I'm not over the top about this. It does feel this intense sometimes. And having validation in that does help. But again, like having time to pass by it. I don't know. If it had gone to be a disaster, like if we had frozen up and not had any like answers and just mumbled through, that could be a whole different story. This would be a completely different episode where I'm like bowing out and resigning.
Unfortunately, Samantha is no longer with us.
And then she quit. She just walked out. But to have that was really, really nice to know that we could do that. You know what I'm saying? And not that I didn't think we could. I knew that the three of us all gave a good balance in this conversation. So that was nice to have as a group. Like this is where I think true family is versus just a workplace. And I'm not saying this as in like your family, our work family is a thing. That's not a thing. We know when it comes to higher ups using that language, it's manipulation. What we're talking about is that connection between coworkers who are in similar situations. And instead of having to compete with each other and instead of having to put others down, we actually help each other and balance each other out. That's that family that you're going into battle together and coming out together, surviving and thriving. And that's that level, being able to be a part of a crew like that really does feel fulfilling, So in all this bragging, I just want to let y'all know that I am okay, first and foremost, because it was real intense. But also secondly, like this is still a growing experience. Like I am, again, in my 40s and growing into this, learning about myself, learning about how I handle things, relearning myself in new or forgotten environments. And I think it's been amazing. And I really, Anney, thank you for putting up with all the anxiety in which I'm like, you need to get here, where are you, type of conversations. Did I get to the airport 4 hours early? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Did we consider holding back so we could get $1,000 voucher? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. If there had been two, we would have. If there had been two, we would have both been like, check, give me that money. But also, like, it was a good trip. Came back home, did a COVID test because I was like, I feel kind of weird. Is that negative? But coming back, getting back into like work realm, knowing that we're still in high gear, trying to prep for things in the future. Yeah. So in the end, this updated happy hour, we're in a good space. And all the patience in the world from you listeners, and all the good advice I'll always get from the listeners, as well as to the new listeners or to the new people who are a part of that panel. If you happen to have caught that, thank you. Thank you. Just seeing the faces. And yeah, that was the thing. Our audience, they were so supportive. It was like we had one where we were talking about how, people kind of wanted to troll us. This one, everybody was just smiling and nodding and answering back. I was like, so this is what it feels like when people are paying attention for real, in live audiences. And being here on purpose, because we had people accidentally show up in past panels or like, this is not what I wanted. Yeah.
And made sure we knew it. But having people who attended this, who were truly interested and who were truly engaged, was another plus and an added reminder of like, this is a great community.
And just a couple things I wanted to touch on is one, I think, Samantha, you've done well with like finding tools that help you. And so you had a lot of anxiety, but you had plans. You had like,
you have to have plans.
You had plans and it went well.
We did practice before with Eves, and Eves is a very steady,
Yeah,
she's steady
she really
presence.
is.
Because I was really nervous and I was shaking, which is just something that I do. But having the two of you was great. I also want to kind of paint the scene. So we got there before Eves, and it was a huge like exhibit hall, and it had just like a bunch of chairs in front of various stages, and then people would put on headphones.
Yes.
And so we were panicked about that as well, because we're like, this is chaos behind us. It's an open hallway, like open hall, and
Right.
people are wearing headphones. I'm not going to be able to hear. I don't know what's going to go on. But it turned out to be great. And then the audience was very supportive. And I wish we only had 30 minutes. Our topic was better banter. I wish we had had a little bit more time so we could have done more Q&A, which we didn't know if we were going to get any questions. So that's always kind of
that nervousness. Do people care?
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
they want to talk to us?
Exactly. But it was cool. And it did make me realize we both need to update our bios. I've been doing this for a long time, listeners. I've been here.
Which was hilarious, y'all, because I would mention how long of an experience she had. And everybody was like, because everybody essentially was newer. Like, I think the oldest outside of people we knew, like podcasters or people in the industry, was like 5 years at most. And Anney over here sitting at 14 almost. Like,
yeah. So it was just kind of eye-opening. I don't know why I've never... Sometimes when you get in your life, you know, it's just like...
Yeah.
But anyway, that was cool. So, but we need to update our bios, though, because I was looking at other people's bios and I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Ours are like 2 sentences, like, oh, she works here.
I know, I was like, why? It feels like when you're updating an old resume and then you're like, this is all unnecessary. Why is this here?
Right. Right. So next time
we got this, for real.
But also the person Samantha mentioned earlier that came up to talk to her afterwards was specifically mentioned the happy hour where you were freaking out.
Right.
And was like, I related so hard.
Right. And I was like, thank God.
Yeah, right. It was comforting.
It's not just me.
It was comforting. And it was cool we got to interact with people who were at the panel afterwards and answer some questions, hopefully give some good advice. But it was neat. I guess a lot of times it's just me and Samantha
in our closet,
laptops in our closet. And it was nice. It was a nice feeling for me to feel like, oh, I actually do know about this.
Yes.
Oh, I do know about this. I've got some experience with this, which I don't know. I think I just don't think about it a lot. I just had to get my work done. And a lot of our colleagues came to our panel and they were so supportive.
Yes.
That was really appreciated. And we were there for 4 days and we were on the second day. That was nice. We were towards the end of the second day, but I'm somebody, I call it my dark side of procrastinating. I can't do anything else. If I'm worried about that thing, that's all I can do.
Focus on,
Yeah, so until that point, that's all I could think about was better banter. What are you going to say? I was planning my banter too much. She had a whole section about where we talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was nice. I felt good after it. I felt like we did a good job and we did provide those different experiences. And I guess I hadn't realized how much I'd kind of been missing that feeling of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do know some stuff.
Yeah. I am good at my job.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, there was somebody from Getty who was taking pictures, and we ran into her later. She was super cool.
She was super sweet.
And so we found some pictures of us, and you looked amazing. And I was just like, I rolled out of bed. I did that purposefully. I wasn't trying. But I kind of was like in a sweatshirt.
No, you looked great.
Oh,
I feel like we all fit our personality.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm not ashamed of it. It's just kind of funny because I was like, I'm just going to wear this old shirt here. Some leggings.
You know, you should low-key cosplaying.
I was.
Yes, you are.
It's a Spider-Man character. That's what helps me.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
It gives me some confidence. But yeah, it was a good experience. And we did network some.
We did. We talked to people at the very least.
We did. We got a few free t-shirts.
Yeah, I got my couple free t-shirts. I'm wearing one now.
We talked to NASA. That was neat.
Yes, we're hoping to get an episode with one of the people from NASA. But yeah, so thank you to anybody who was there. Thank you to the listeners for standing with us during these odd times in our lives, during these different stages, and giving good advice.
Yeah.
Or just listening.
Yeah. Yeah. We really, really appreciate it because, again, it can feel very isolating.
Mm-hmm.
It's just us talking. So hearing from you and having that support is amazing.
It is.
So valued. Thank you so much.
We love you. Thank you.
We love you. Oh, and speaking of,
yes,
Samantha and I are going to Seattle.
Ooh.
Soonish.
Soonish.
Within a month-ish, as this comes out. So if you have any recommendations, food, places we should go, I know some of you are from Seattle.
Let us know.
Let us know. You can email us at stephaniemomstuff@iheartmedia.com. You can find us on Twitter at momstuffpodcast or on Instagram and TikTok at Stuff Mom Never Told You. We're also on YouTube. We have a TeePublic store, and we have a book you can get wherever you get your books. Thanks as always to our super producer, Christina, our executive producer, Maya, and our contributor, Joey.
Yes, thank you for making us sound so good, or at least better.
Yes, and for helping us get through these stressful conferences. And thanks to you for listening. Stuff I'll Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.